Hey, it's Pam, and today I'm talking about my most anticipated games of 2020. It seems like 2020 is going to be another good year for games. There are a lot of huge releases planned to release in 2020, as well as some smaller ones that I'm really looking forward to, so I just wanted to go over what I am most anticipating. The first game shouldn't be a surprise to anyone who follows me, but it's Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. I was so excited when this game was first released. I remember when the sort of ARG came out and there were all the rumors, and I was like so anticipating a sequel after 15, 16 years from the first one, and it was announced and I was very excited. It looks very good. It's being developed by Hardsuit Labs. It was originally supposed to come out in Q1, which is January, February, March of 2020. It was pushed back, as I suspected it would be. I don't believe they've given a new release date. I'm not sure if they've given a time frame either, but whatever, I want them to take their time, polish it up real nice. Hopefully it won't have the issues that the first one did on release. I've been sort of following the development. I don't ever like to follow anything too closely because I like for there to be some surprises when the game finally comes out. But I have been watching videos, especially Outstar's videos, on the different clans and the different factions that will be involved. I'm so happy that the Malkavians will be in the game again. I was sort of worried that they weren't going to include them. I'm looking forward to hopefully some less janky combat and some cool abilities. Also very excited that one of the writers, Kara Ellison, has said she's very much into some vampire romance, so vampire romance also quite appeals to me, and I hope there are lots of options for that in the game. Yeah, so that's my sort of number one most anticipated. Will definitely be a day one purchase for me. I'm just still trying to figure out if I want to play it on PC or console. The next one was actually supposed to be a 2019 release, but it did get pushed back, and it is Doom Eternal. It is being developed again by id Software, and I believe it's coming out on March 20th, 21st? I think March 20th, so it is soon. I think it's probably the closest released of the ones I want to talk about. I loved Doom 2016. It was like a breath of fresh air for the FPS genre. I loved that they sort of ditched the whole cover shooting and wait and regenerate health mechanics and just made it like super fast, super aggressive. The only way to get back health was to kill other things. The only way to get a breath was to use one of those glory kills and, you know, rip a demon's skull apart. And it was just so much fun. The trailer for the new one looks excellent. It's very movement based, and this looks like there's going to be even more verticality, sort of flying through levels. You get a grapple hook, which you can use to pull enemies towards you, as well as grapple yourself to other areas. So the movement should be even faster, there should be even more options, and there looks to be some really cool weapons, including a laser sword. So yes, definitely looking forward to Doom. That will be another day one for me. Okay, so I've already lied. This next one is supposed to come out March 11th, putting it before Doom Eternal, but it is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I loved Ori and the Blind Forest. It is a beautiful Metroidvania, and Metroidvania is a genre I've really been into lately, so happy to have a new one coming out so soon. It looks just as beautiful as the first one, has some great music in the trailers. It also looks like there might be more of a focus on sort of big boss fights and gauntlets and chase sequences. The first one had that really great and really challenging sequence with the water rising up behind you as you sort of had to shoot yourself off between walls to like get away from it. And there looks like there will be more like that, which I'm happy to have. Despite how challenging they are, they're a lot of fun and satisfying once you finally get them. I'm also hoping that some of the little quibbles I had with the first game will be fixed. One of the things was that when you got to the end of the game, they didn't let you go back to explore the map, which is a pretty big oversight for a Metroidvania, I think. So I'm pretty sure they learned their lesson on that, because they actually did in the definitive edition fix that. There was also, you had to manually save your game and use energy to do that, which I'm pretty sure I've read that is going away, which is also good because there's nothing more frustrating than forgetting to save and having to go back further than you wanted to. But it looks like another beautiful game and we'll be playing it soon. Next is Hades by Supergiant Games, and technically this game has already been playable for quite a while. It's in early access, or whatever the equivalent of that is on the Epic Store, but I don't play games on early access. I like to wait until they're finished before I start digging into them. But this one looks like it is a roguelike action RPG. It actually kind of reminds me of Children of Morta, which is a game I really liked from last year, but it's got Supergiant's signature fantastic, beautiful, colorful artwork and great music. I find that their games are enjoyable even when the gameplay doesn't quite work for me. Bastion is one of my favorite games ever. Transistor, the gameplay didn't work for me, but the story and the aesthetics and everything were so good that it sort of pulled me through the games the whole way, and I still have an appreciation for it. So I'm really looking forward to their take on this genre. I also really like that they're always switching it up. Like Bastion was sort of an action game, and then Transistor was sort of a turn-based RPG-ish game, and then the next one, Pyre, was like sports ball combined with visual novel. So they're just, again, going off in a completely different direction, which I'm looking forward to. The story involves Greek mythology, which I always love to see in games, so I'm very much looking forward to it. I think it's set to release in like Q3, Q4 2020. They haven't given a firm date yet, but I will be playing that as soon as it's out. A really easy way to get me interested in a game is to say it has XCOM-like combat, and Empire of Sin is a game that should be coming out in Q2 of 2020 by Romero Games, and that is what it has. It's sort of like a simulation strategy game set in Chicago during the Prohibition era, and you are basically a mob boss having to manage your businesses and your people, having to fight with rival gangs and like take over new territory, having to build relationships with both your friends and your enemies, trying to coerce or persuade or threaten people to get what you want out of it. I haven't seen too much about this game since it is a bit of a smaller release than the other ones that I've been talking about so far, but it looks right up my alley. I love that sort of simulation strategy, and then of course the XCOM-like combat when you do get into a scuffle with a rival gang. So this one looks really good, and it might be something you haven't heard of yet, so check into Empire of Sin if that sounds interesting to you. So this next one I just found out about recently, and I'm not even sure how I found out about it, but it's called Yes, Your Grace, and it is a kingdom management simulation. It is developed by Brave at Night, and the release date, according to Steam, is just early 2020, so I suppose it could be any day. This is, you know, one of the games that just like really gets to me. It has beautiful pixel art. It is about managing your subjects. I mean, give me a kingdom, let me manage it, give me some resource management, some books balancing, some petitioners coming to me and asking me for help, and figuring out how to deal with that. Probably some family drama will come into the game. It just looks really cute and like something I would very much enjoy. Based on the description, there's also a big focus on characters, so the characters that come to you for help, you'll be seeing them sort of throughout the game so you can follow along with their stories, and I just think it looks really cute and has all those sort of survival, strategy, resource management kind of mechanics that I really love and get sucked into in games, so I'm looking forward to playing this one too. So I've been playing a lot of Hollow Knight recently. I just finished it, but I keep going back to it to sort of pick away at it to try to get a higher completion and get better endings. And though I had a rough start with the game, I have really come to love it. So I was very excited to find out that there's a sequel coming out called Hollow Knight Silksong. In this one, you get to play the other character whose name I don't remember. What's her name? It is Hornet. Oh yeah, you play as Hornet. And it looks great. It looks like the same kind of thing. Maybe some sort of faster, smoother combat just based on Hornet's combat style as opposed to the character in the first game. So I was super excited to think that I might have a new Hollow Knight so close to beating the old one until I looked closer and saw that it is being released on PC and Switch first. And I'm not going to play it on PC or Switch, so this might be something I'm looking forward to playing in 2021 when it gets ported to the other consoles as opposed to this year. A few special mentions, partially to prevent 100 "what about this game" comments. Final Fantasy VII. I was so excited when Final Fantasy VII Remaster was announced. I actually cried during the announcement. I thought it looked beautiful. It's a game that really meant a lot to me when I played it back in the beginning of high school. But it just, I don't know, watching some of the trailers, it doesn't look or sound that good. It's actually specifically the voice acting, which I think is kind of terrible.
Cloud! Quickly! Barret!
Give me a break!
Jesse! Barret!
Where you been?
Tifa!
Janet!
Dr. Scott! Janet! Barret!
Rook!
All the women are very sort of like breathy and weak sounding, and Barret is just like Mr. T, and I don't know. I will probably play it, but I'm less excited than I was when I first found out about it. Sort of the more information was released, the more I was like, And I also just really don't like the idea that it's going to be episodic, because I feel like we're going to get the Midgar portion of the game, and then the rest of it is probably going to be like another 5 years away, which seems like a huge waste of time. So yeah, Final Fantasy VII, I will probably get it when it finally comes out, but at the same time, I'm just like, I feel wary as opposed to excited about it right now. So the next big one is, of course, The Last of Us 2, which I think is set to come out in May. I will play this game because I don't want to miss the cultural zeitgeist, but I felt the first one was, I don't know, like, it was cool. I liked how cinematic it was. I liked the relationship between Joel and Ellie. I didn't love actually playing The Last of Us. The sort of stealth portion, which was really required, didn't appeal to me all that much. So I will play it, but it's not like one of those ones I'm super excited about. It's cool that we get to play as Ellie. I hope her girlfriend doesn't die at the beginning of it. But yeah, The Last of Us Left Behind was actually my favorite part of that game so far. So we'll see what happens with the new game. And I think rivaling or maybe even edging out The Last of Us 2 for the biggest release of the year, Cyberpunk 2077. I will definitely, again, be playing this because I don't want to miss out on it, and it's really all anyone is going to talk about for months when it comes out. It was supposed to be out in April. They just recently announced a delay until September, which again, fine, finish the game off as you need to. I have this thing where when games get announced too soon, I lose interest, and sometimes I get like actively hostile towards them as it goes by, which doesn't make any sense, but who knows. This happened with the Guardian Legend. I was so excited because of how much I loved Shadow of the Colossus when it came out, but then it took like 10 years or something after that first trailer for the game to actually come out, and I didn't even end up getting it. I never played it. So with Cyberpunk, I think the first trailer, which I was very excited about, came out 7 years ago. Cyberpunk, it looks cool. I'm kind of happy that it's first person because I just really didn't like the combat in Witcher 3. I know it's a completely different setting and we wouldn't be fighting with swords, I don't think, but I'm thinking maybe first person will have gameplay that appeals more to me. But yes, again, just the amount of time it's taken and just the amount of hype the game has gotten kind of just turns me off. Like, I've heard so much about it despite not ever seeking out that information myself, so I feel like I'm just like Cyberpunk 2077 overload, and the game's not even out yet. So that's it for my most anticipated games of 2020. I hope you enjoyed, maybe even found out about a game or two you weren't aware of that were coming out. Let me know in the comments what games you are most anticipating, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Look who came to say hello, it's Mixie. Say hello, Mixie. He actually didn't, he just came in the room and I scooped him up and he's not very happy. It's okay, it's okay. He hasn't been on camera in a little while, so I thought I'd show him to you. Let you know he's still here.